The original release of Justice League was an alright film that was kind of obviously edited to try and be something else that it wasn't originally meant to. The Snyder Cut is in some ways better, but it still suffers from being 4 hours long when it probably could have just been a little over 3. And the film's just way too drab looking. Like basically everything, maybe an edit between both of them would probably be the best. But how I would do it different? This is Justice League, another take. I'd also probably mess around with release orders, so this would be the end of the first DC phase. We open with the Zack Snyder cut of the bank robbery, but we cut to the Whedon version when Wonder Woman appears. In the aftermath, there's a bunch of news reports about what happened there, and we see Bruce, Alfred, and John Jones, Martian Manhunter, watching, and talking about recruiting her for the League, and John thinks he knows who she is. Everyone's like, what? And he has like the photo, and they like look back and forth for a while, and Bruce is like, wait a minute, I know her. And it cuts to Themyscira, and we absolutely are using the Schneider version of Steppenwolf, but the Whedon cut's lighting department. They send out an arrow for help. We cut to the ending of Wonder Woman with Diana getting the photo and the watch from Bruce. She sends the email, also sees that Arrow is alerting her, so she suits up. And we cut to someone watching a bunch of kids having fun, and it's Cyborg. I probably would cast someone younger, and I also would prefer if he was saved for the Titans, but New 52, so he's staying. He has a flashback to his high school days where he was Victory Stone, the star football player at Gotham High, known for saying booyah every single time he got a touchdown, which was often. But then at an away game between Metropolis and Gotham, Vic went all the way, scoring a winning touchdown. His mom was there to celebrate, but his dad wasn't, which in the long run paid off because he also suffered from a car accident afterwards. So his dad hooked him up with some new experimental nanomachines like Metallo. Then we cut to some other high schoolers, Carrie and her friend Michelle. Michelle's going over their Spanish homework where they talk about a Spanish country, and Carrie's half asleep because Robin. And we up with a bunch of other characters at Gotham High before school, which will probably be important later. Notably Duke Thomas, who after the events of the last film, him and Carrie became friends. And he's got a group of the Robins. They're inspired by the Robin, who seems to be around their age. He can also be a hero just like the Bat. Even if the news says she's a symbol of childhood delinquency, and the school keeps trying to ban people from wearing yellow R's. And I don't know, let's say that this takes place like 8 months after Batman v Superman. Then one of the kids at the We Are Robin group realizes that Carrie kind of looks like the Robin. It's like, yeah, you got like similar hair and a kind of similar physique. And she's like, what? No, what are you talking about? I would break my hand if I punched something. And they're like, what? No way, you're like super buff. But then someone gets like busted for having kryptonite at the metal detector. And that just becomes the big joke of the day and everyone forgets about Carrie. Then later at night, Batman's going around doing his thing. And Carrie's there and she's changed her outfit a little to include a wig, referencing something. And probably accidentally referencing another thing. They're going around, Batman and robbing it. And they find someone running on the rooftops and stop the criminal. But all of a sudden, something flies around them, grabbing Batman. And Carrie chases after them, shooting them with rocks, which gets the thing distracted so Batman can toss them off them and pin them to a wall. Everyone's confused what it is, but John knows what it is, saying that it's a parademon. But then we cut back to Cyborg. We pick up on the "does anyone know I'm alive" line. I kind of want to rewrite it that he doesn't have anything to do with the mother boxes and just the nanites are being kind of weird and he doesn't know how to completely control them. Then an indeterminate amount of time later, Wonder Woman gets into Wayne Manor. Her, Bruce, and John have a walk and talk, and they decide to explain what happened with Steppenwolf and the mother boxes. That long ago on Mars, the forces of Apocalypse invaded, and John was the only survivor, so he went to Earth to warn everyone, which led to the War of the Last Alliance. Led by the Greek gods before Ares betrayed them and killed their physical bodies, forces of men from all around the world, the Atlanteans before they went underwater, the Amazons before their enslavement, and even the Green Lantern of their sector, against the invaders of the new god Darkseid. and his uncle General Steppenwolf. You have both of them attacking. We're using the Snyder Cut, maybe with less blood because PG-13, and also turn up the goddamn brightness. And then there's the mother boxes, which there are 3 of them on Earth, and they're like miracle boxes. I don't know, just some little details too, like Atlan gets his famous trident from Poseidon, and there's a familiar face leading one of the factions of men. Eventually they manage to defeat Darkseid and take the mother boxes and hid them all over the world. And Bruce is like, well, I guess we have to form our league faster then. If it took the entire world to stop them. Diana's like, alright, let's get your friend Superman to help. And Bruce has to tell her that Superman's kind of out of commission for a while. With Alfred replying, well, there has been other metahuman sightings, you guys could recruit them. So they all go on their separate journeys. Bruce goes through reports of some guy named Barry Allen. We meet them, and Barry is played by a new actor. Overall, this scene can go basically the same, except for I would change the Flash suit to look more like this, and, give him something that's not just a helmet, gloves, and boots. They make it to the car, and then Bruce just hits a button on it, and it turns into the Batwing, and they fly off. John knows about some local reports about a cyborg, and Alfred says, let's try Master Rick. Diana's like, who? Alfred explains that Rick Grayson was Bruce's adopted son. He was the original Robin before Lady Carey, but then one day 10 years ago, something just snapped into him and he decided to leave and never talk to us again. We have managed to track him to Bloodhaven. Diana's like, oh man, I can't believe Bruce had a Robin before. Alfred says, well, he actually had 2, but Master Jason is no longer with us. So the 2 head out to Bloodhaven, New Jersey. They find him, but it doesn't really go that well, even after explaining that it means saving the world. Rick is all like,
go fuck yourself.
They leave, and he tries looking back at them, but he knows he can't. And he starts having a flashback to a time where he fought Deathstroke. The guy they got him to play him in the film is alright, but you can't beat the best actor who's ever been born, Ron Perlman. On this adventure, Deathstroke actually managed to KO Bruce, and something happened and Rick thought he actually defeated him and thought this was the end.
On the contrary, Robin, this is only the beginning. If you join me, if you swear to serve me, if you never speak to your friends again, I will allow them to live. But if you disobey, we'll annihilate them, Robin, and I'll make you watch. So, do we have a deal?
The threatening and cool nature of Slade actually gets to Rick, so he actually believes him that he could actually kill Bruce. So he decides to join him, and he becomes Nightwing.
I know it seems bad now, but trust me, you'll learn to like it.
And then this can be greatly expanded upon in a Titans miniseries that I'll probably also rewrite. So they go back to Plan A and try getting Cyborg. And this scene can play out kind of like the Whedon version, where he's in the hoodie, and he thinks of himself as a monster, and Diana and John try to convince him otherwise. But he rips off the jacket, showing his cyborg body, so eventually they don't end up recruiting him. Then we cut to the other group, and they made it to Iceland. Bruce uses his detective skills to try and figure out which one of them is this Aquaman everyone's talking about. Barry thinks it's this person played by an Olympic athlete, but Bruce realizes if it's what they say is true, then the Aquaman is half Atlantean, so he wouldn't need to look like an Olympic athlete. Because of his Atlantean powers, he could probably swim better than any human. So it's definitely Arthur Curry. That, and he also has the only American name other than us here. But he's uninterested. So great, we tried convincing 3 people, and we only got back 1. Everyone meets with Commissioner Gordon, and Cyborg decides to join them after he realizes that everything might be connected to the mother box, and he uses holograms to talk about the human mother box was discovered by Germany in World War II underneath a French monastery. The Allies took it afterwards, and it sat in Area 51 until President Luther's experiments into metahumans, where he gifted it to Star Labs, not knowing what exactly it was. So they decide to get into Star Labs, and it has Gian disguising himself as Vic's dad to get in, and they get the puzzle box incredibly easily. But then Steppenwolf teleports in, and we get the fight from the original inside of Star Labs. And Steppenwolf uses his axe, which harms Gian because fire. Most of the trouble is because there's just so many parademons. So Batman summons the Bat Tank to help them. But in the end, Steppenwolf just grabs the box and causes the area to flood, saying that they'll thank him afterwards, and he teleports away. After everyone gets washed back up, Diana realizes this means the last box has to be in Atlantis. And Barry's like, wait a minute, Atlantis is real? And Diana's like, oh wait, yeah, we haven't explained that to you. So she explains it to Barry as Batman calls out Thomas Curry to ask about Arthur. Arthur's doing Aquaman things, so they have to do this all by themselves, I guess. And Barry's all like, so wait a minute, it's just like Lord of the Rings. And Diana's like, Lord of the what? And he's like, come on, you've never seen or read Lord of the Rings? What? And Gian is like, I've read it. And Barry's like, well, see, the aliens read it. And also, I'm just realizing we have an alien on the team, and apparently the Greek gods are real. And he just like passes out. We get that one part of Aquaman saving someone. And here I can actually get behind like the moody lighting because it's supposed to show that Aquaman's kind of depressed. Willem Dafoe tells him he needs to fight for the world and gives him his mother's quindent. And we cut to a facility a little outside of Atlantis holding the mother box. And, continuity, the soldiers here are actually looking like how they do in Aquaman. All futuristically with the cool lighting. And the Justice League suits up and heads into the Bat Sub, which also looks basically like the Bat Tank without treads. Everyone gets rebreathers to breathe underwater. Oh no, Steppenwolf gets there, and he fights the Atlanteans and a lot of them become parademons. But then Mara shows up, and absolutely not even more so than Miller. Mara shows up and steals the water. He still ends up with the mother box, activating all three of them, creating unity, which creates a big thing around the facility, taking away the water as the League enters without Ja'an because he's still hurt. And Stefan tries attacking Mara, but at that moment, Aquaman arrives, saving her. And then Steppenwolf reveals his plan to everyone, and he needs the mother boxes to become stronger and create more parademons to overthrow Darkseid. If anything, he's doing this world a favor by taking it over, because Darkseid, when he gets here, he will probably destroy it. And Barry's all like, well, we'd rather not be ruled by either of you two. Then they all fight, and Wonder Woman discovers a thing about herself after she gets hit into the water, that she can breathe underwater. She didn't know that. And Cyborg tries peeling the mother boxes apart as Barry defends him. But then Cyborg gets a vision of Darkseid, and he's super evil and takes over the world and destroys it. But he continues to try and separate the puzzle boxes as someone enters the ring of fire.
Jean!
So then the three strongest start fighting Steppenwolf, and Aquaman summons a shiver of sharks to take out the parademons. It's super cool, and everyone works together, defending Cyborg from what he's doing, as Batman tries keeping Carrie safe, but ironically, Carrie's actually keeping Batman alive. Eventually, they separate Stefan from his axe, and Cyborg rips the boxes apart, yelling, "Booyah!" Just as a boom tube opens, and Darkseid sees what's going on, yelling at Steppenwolf for what's the meaning of this. And he sees this, and he bows, taking his helmet off, just for Aquaman to stab him in the back and toss him away, with Martian Manhunter punching him through the portal. But before that, Wonder Woman cuts his head off. Everyone stands defiant at the portal as it closes, but Darkseid doesn't really care.
Our forces are decimated, our defenses weakened. It was a fool's errand.
But then Granny Goodness is like, if any place has the anti-life equation, it would probably be that defiant planet we tried invading forever ago. And just like the Justice League animated series, I kind of want Granny Goodness to have a gross guy voice, like Dr. Mrs. the Monarch or Danny DeVito or something. And we might also see in the background a reference to the Furies and Big Barda. And Darkseid is like, you're right, gather the forces, we're going to invade that planet. Desaad thinks that's kind of foolish after what just happened with Steppenwolf.
What I mean to say is,
No one questions me, Desaad. No one.
We cut to Lex Luthor's country club in Louisiana. He's talking to his assistant about how the false prophets are making their own little gain. We need something to deal with them. And his assistant is talking about how Metallo's body has been retrieved and upgraded. Kryptonite Experiment 4 has wielded success. LJ's powers are starting to stabilize. Mr. V. Savage has agreed to your meeting Wednesday. Some guy named Grodd wants to speak with you. And also, Lenny wants to host a party here with his 2 girlfriends. And Lex is like, you know why I still actually run my company? And Dr. Zool is like, I thought Lenny did. And Lex is like, that needle dick couldn't even spell the name Lex if he was looking at the sign. But he's still family, and a man. And those are in short supplies these days, and I need him to be the face of the company while I'm still president. And I do plan on being president for a long time. So I'm going to need more people I can trust. So you actually do want to support Amanda Waller's idea of using criminals to do all the shit we don't want to do. He's like, yes, we'll call it Task Force X. Anyone who can survive it is going to be in our group. We need a league of our own. No, a legion. We're going to need more members. Think about it, you know what? You can have your own powers. You can invent something for yourself. We cut to the Justice League's victory, getting broadcasted on Lex News. And Jim Gordon's watching, and he's like, hey, Barbara, this seems kind of interesting, something you might like. Barbara? Barbara, she's probably sleeping. We cut to her room, and she's changing in silhouette, and she's become Batgirl. She meets up with her friend who's become Spoiler, and we get a voiceover by Bruce, explaining that how the League saved the world from Steppenwolf, while also inspiring the world to actually get up and fight back against crime and other injustices around the world. The entire League has become a new symbol of hope. At the end of all this, it cuts to the Fortress of Solitude and the healing pod, and just as Bruce says hope, dramatically we see Superman's eyes opening, all healed. In our post-credit scene, we see the Flash running. He comes across a giant robot spider getting piloted by Toyman, as well as the Rogues helping rob a bank. And Barry's like, never a dull moment. And then Clark flies in, and he's like, I know, right? I've only been awake for 4 hours, and this already happens. And Barry's like excited to see Superman, and they run together. And in our end credits scene, we see John Stewart flying back to Earth, talking to himself, being like, this is only the second time he's actually left Earth. I wonder what weird things happened when I was gone. And that's how it would rewrite Justice League. But what do you guys think? Like how it turned out? Do you not? Prefer a Snyder Cut? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, comment, and if you're new here, subscribe.